Imagine standing at the border, watching thousands of people waiting, hoping, and fearing all at once. You think America is a land of opportunity, a nation built on laws and order. But the truth, the border has become a battlefield, one where politics, power, and personal agendas decide the fate of families. Under Donald Trump, the U.S.-Mexico border became more than a line on a map. It became a symbol, a political weapon, and a source of chaos that affects millions of lives. The story begins long before Trump took office. Immigration has always been a contentious issue in America, but Trump transformed it into a central pillar of his political identity. From the very first day, he promised a wall, a great wall, bigger than anyone ever imagined, and vowed to stop illegal immigration at all costs. But this wasn't just about policy. It was about messaging. Every executive order, every tweet, every news conference was designed to create a crisis in the minds of voters, a crisis that only he could solve. In reality, the border is complex. People cross for countless reasons, fleeing violence, seeking better economic opportunities, or reuniting with family. Most are desperate, not dangerous. Yet Trump framed the story differently. He painted the border as overrun by criminals, gangs, and drug cartels, creating fear that electrified his base. Policies followed the rhetoric. The zero-tolerance approach led to family separations. Children were taken from parents and placed in detention centers. Images of toddlers behind fences shocked the world, but inside America, the story was split. Some saw Trump as protecting the nation. Others saw a humanitarian crisis unfolding in real time. Behind the headlines, funding and politics shaped the response. Border security agencies, already stretched thin, were suddenly under pressure to perform. Emergency measures were enacted. National Guard units were deployed. And yet, the problems persisted. Meanwhile, Trump used the border as leverage in Washington. Government shutdowns over funding for the wall dominated headlines. He threatened to close the border entirely. He signed executive orders that bypassed Congress. In every move, the crisis was both the problem and the political solution. Billionaires and donors also played a role. Some supported the hardline immigration stance to protect labor markets and economic interests. Others funded campaigns to sway public opinion, running ads depicting the border in chaos. Money flowed, narratives were shaped, and the border became a stage for national drama. But what was the human cost? Thousands of asylum seekers languished in camps with poor conditions. Families were torn apart. Children were lost in the system. NGOs and volunteers tried to fill the gaps, but the scale of the crisis was enormous. For many, the border was no longer a path to opportunity, it was a trap. Trump's policies didn't exist in a vacuum. They intersected with international relations, trade deals, and global migration patterns. Agreements with Mexico and Central American countries were renegotiated. Remittances, border commerce, and refugee flows all became tools in the political chess game. Meanwhile, media coverage fueled the tension. Fox News and conservative outlets amplified the invasion narrative. Progressive media highlighted the humanitarian tragedy. Twitter became a battlefield, with Trump himself amplifying fear, anger, and outrage in real time. The border wasn't just a physical place anymore, it was a political weapon, a narrative device, and a symbol of division. By 2024, the situation had reached unprecedented levels. Record numbers of migrants arrived at the border. Detention facilities were over capacity. Legal challenges, lawsuits, and international criticism mounted. Trump's base applauded his tough stance. His critics decried human rights violations. The border had become a mirror of American society itself, polarized, conflicted, and in chaos. Yet Trump maintained the narrative of control. Every press conference framed the story as success. Walls were built, budgets increased, and arrests were publicized. Every crisis became a spectacle, a performance designed to consolidate power and influence public opinion. But underneath the political theater, real families continued to suffer. Children remained separated. Asylum applications piled up. Migrants faced dangerous journeys through deserts and rivers. And still, the debate raged in Washington. Was this security or cruelty disguised as policy? The Trump border crisis teaches a powerful lesson. It shows how politics can turn human tragedy into a campaign strategy. It shows how fear can be weaponized, how laws can be bent, and how narratives can overshadow reality. And most importantly, it raises a question for every American. When politics fuels chaos, who truly suffers, the politicians or the people? As we look at the border today, it's clear that the story is far from over. Every election cycle, every policy debate, every tweet has the potential to change lives, to amplify chaos, or to offer hope. The question remains, can America reconcile security with humanity, or will politics continue to exploit the border for power? This isn't just a story about walls, fences, or lines on a map. It's a story about people, power, and the fragile balance between law and compassion. And until America confronts the political forces driving the crisis, the border will remain a stage for chaos, a place where the human cost of politics is all too real.